Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So, in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that, we're going to talk about more stuff than just the comic books, and specifically like Some Big Lumberjack. Right? So today I'm doing something different. I'm finally getting out to the range. I'm a big Second Amendment supporter, and I've made some adjustments to one of my rifles. I have a PTR 91. It's a 308 semi-automatic, and I took the muzzle flash off and replaced it with a new muzzle brake that's supposed to reduce recoil pretty significantly. And I also, for Christmas, my wife got me an enhanced heavy buffer, so I just put that in, and this will be my first time firing it with these two upgrades to it. I did upgrade it before. When I originally purchased it, it came with a factory 12-pound trigger pull. I replaced the trigger pack in it with a 5-pound, and I haven't fired it since then either. Wow. So anyway, so it's going to be a cool day. I'm going out with my buddy Steven. So I'm also bringing an AR-15, my Smith & Wesson 1911, my Russian Makarov 380. So anyways, that one's always fun. It's kind of like a pea shooter after shooting all these big caliber guns. So we're gonna get going here pretty soon, and once we get set up, we'll start up. I'll show you everything I've got, and we'll go from there, and we'll see how we do today. All right, see you at the range. All right, so there was our range time. Had an awesome time, and had a good time with Steven, my friend. And like I said, I was going to show you what I shot today. So here we go. So here is the first one. This is my Smith & Wesson 1911 and a 45 ACP. It's a great handgun, man. As you can see, chamber's clear. It's a really great pistol, and I was really kind of not a fan of it at first until a friend of mine, really gave me some tips on how to shoot it, and I've really come to have some good groups with it. It's an 8-round magazine, so when you get 8 plus 1, that sucker gets pretty heavy, but it fires very well and very accurate. Of course, a lot of that depends on the shooter, but yeah, it's a great round, or it's a great firearm. I really like it. All right, and the next one is my Makarov in 380 ACP, and this is a really fun pistol to shoot. And we'll go ahead and see again. It's clear, and this one's got like the little decocker there. It's fun. It's a fun one to shoot, especially if you start with the 45 and then you switch over to this thing. This thing's like shooting a BB gun. But it's a lot of fun. So I ended up getting a lot of 380 ammo a few years ago. So this is usually my plinker, when I take it to the range. Especially with carrying it, want to be able to fire it pretty consistently. So, yeah, there you go. There's 2 of them. All right, so here is my first rifle that we went and fired today. It is a PTR 91, and it's in a 308. As you can see, I put a little cheek rest there. And it came with the trigger pack it came with. Had a 12-pound trigger on it, and I replaced the trigger. We put in a 5-pound, and you can see I replaced the flash hider here, the Precision Armament, I believe it's M472, I believe is the model number, compensator. Supposedly will reduce recoil up to 60%. And then for Christmas, as I believe I mentioned before, right in the stock there, I replaced the stock buffer with enhanced heavy buffer. And of course got a little bipod on there, put a little scope. Let me tell you something. This thing kicked pretty heavy. You know, it let you know it was sending rounds down range. But man, with this, the compensator coupled with the buffer, the kick on this is just, it's almost like shooting a 223. It is just awesome. It is so much fun now. Not that it wasn't fun before, but man, you just really, you know, after a mag or two, you know, it was just like I had enough of my shoulder being turned into a hamburger. All right, and here is the second rifle we shot at the range today. This is an AR-15 by Palmetto State Armory down in Florida. And I bought the upper and the lower separately and put it together. And it's no frills, you know, it's not nothing super fancy, but I tell you, it works, and it's pretty accurate. I may even put that compensator, get a compensator for this one, because they do make one for a 223 stainless steel barrel. It's got the Magpul furniture on it. I put a I've been kind of experimenting with different holds. You know, I used to, when I first started shooting, what I would do is I would hold at the magwell and try to, you know, keep everything real tight. And then I used like a forward grip, you know, right underneath. And I had some people I watched some videos and some people kind of saying, you know, pros and cons and what that's really for and stuff like that. So then I started hearing a lot about the C grip. So I thought I'd get this angled forward grip here and try the C. And you know, honestly, I really like it. It's kind of awkward at first, but it really helped me to keep that the barrel steady there towards the end of the barrel there. So I definitely noticed an improvement this go around. But it's a fun little rifle. No fancy furniture. This is definitely, you would not call this tactical, but it's effective. So there you go. All right, well, here's the next gun I'm going to talk about. Now, I didn't take this one to the range this time. I usually do whenever I go out because it's just really fun to shoot. This is a Mosin Nagant M9130. This was a Russian rifle. They were first introduced in, I believe, 1891, which is where the 91 comes from. It's, I think, the longest serving rifle in history, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's correct. The Russians made over 17 million of these things. And now, of course, there's different variations of it. Like, for instance, this particular one, it was originally made in 1922 and has a hex receiver. So this is actually what's called an X-Dragoon. So this was originally an M91, and then in 1930 they upgraded the M91s to, you know, the current specifications at the time that they wanted. So the barrel was shortened a bit. A few things were changed, like the rear sight was changed. Both sides, the front and rear sights. It's chambered in a 7.62 by 5.4 R for rimmed. A lot of people think the R is for Russian. It is actually for rimmed because the round actually has a rim on it. This was the service rifle that was used for the Russians for many years. Now, like I said, there's many variations on it. There's, you know, the Dragoon. This is an X-Dragoon, and there's the 9130. Then you got into carbine models, which I actually do have a carbine. They're just shorter versions of this. Some of them have a bayonet that's like bolted on. It's a folding bayonet, which is one of the ones that I have. But this particular model, it's just really cool. You know, it's so old, and I've got no way of knowing if it was ever actually used in battle. But when they're this old,
a lot of what I've read has said that if they're that old, it's a pretty safe bet that they were used in battle, which is kind of neat to think of. This thing shooting at Nazis, killing Nazis. That's pretty cool. It's got a pre-war stock on it, so it's period correct. And also all the serial numbers match. There's no, like, one thing with the carbines, like the M44 in particular. A lot of times the serials won't match, or, like, for instance, on the one that I have, all the serial numbers match except for on the bolt. Now the bolt has the correct serial number on it, but they used a scribe pen or some kind of electric pen to handwrite it on there instead of it being stamped. But that's not the case with this. All of the serial numbers match for on the receiver, on the bolt, and it's a stamp. It's not the electric pen. And same thing with the the bottom of the mag and everything. The internal mag holds 5 rounds. You can either load it one at a time from the top or use a stripper clip. And I've had it. I bought it at Cabela's, actually. Cabela's had a sale. I want to say they were like $125. And they had gotten a bunch of crates in. And the way they had it set up is you came in, you went up to the counter, you're like, yeah, I want one of the Mosin Nagants on sale. I think they brought it out, let you see it, and you were either yes or no. Yeah, that was it. It was either yes or no, you wanted it. And it was just luck of the draw. You got whichever one they ran and brought out. They didn't have them all lined up somewhere where you could go through and look and pick out which one you wanted. And I got lucky. I got and the guy told me when we were looking at everything, he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're lucky. You got the hex receiver." So let me pull this off of here. And first thing, so we know we're safe. So I don't know if you can see it here. This is the receiver, and that's the first telltale sign that you've got an older Mosin Nagant, is if you've got a hex receiver. Because once World War II started up, they had to really kind of streamline production. So war era rifles typically will have a round receiver. And I don't know if you can see this. I have some pictures that'll show it probably a little better than this, but you've got the Russians seal, in Russia here. I believe the way you pronounce this is Irshevek, I think. I could be wrong. But 1922. And then I almost wonder if this was an ex-sniper stock, because you can see this is different wood here. There was a cutaway, and on the snipers, the scopes mounted here. And they came up like this, and then the scope was right here. And this cutout here makes me wonder if this stock anyways. I know the rifle was not an ex-sniper, because if it was, on the inside here, you'd see 2 plugs that were they welded in. But I wonder if this stock maybe had been an ex-sniper stock. That is possible, I guess. I've never seen pictures of one but reading descriptions, it has this kind of repair here. And then my father-in-law gave me he had a Yugoslavian SKS, so I got that. And then after he passed away, I got another Mosin, one of his Mosin, which is the carbine that I was telling you about, the M44. Let me see if it's easy to. Yeah. So here's the other Mosin. Just a beautiful, beautiful stock, and once again, totally safe. I don't keep any guns loaded in my safe, so. But I love the finish on this stock. It clearly it had to have been refurbished. This is an M44 manufactured in 1946. All the serial numbers match except for the bolt. The bolt's got I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like an electric pen etched on there. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun to shoot. I think it's pretty cool. So there I ended up with this, like I said, this Nazi killer section of my of my gun safe. But it's pretty cool history, you know. I mean, these Comblock rifles, they used to be cheap. Like I said, that Mosin Nagant, the one I purchased from Cabela's, I bought it for $125, and I went there not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and they're selling war and post-war era Mosins for $399, $400 for a Mosin Nagant with a round receiver. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, but I know with everything going on with Russia, stuff's not coming over anymore, so I guess the supply is drying up. I just still don't see how that's possible with 17 million of these things floating around. But anyway, so that's a look at that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure had fun doing it. And next time we'll talk about some comic books or maybe a movie or something. Anyways, hope you all have a good one. Thanks for checking us out, and bye-bye.